journey on the locomotive Tren Inca through some of the most rugged mountain landscape in the world promises to provide a fascinating insight into the long-forgotten traditional culture of the Incas. From the town of Puno, where this trip begins, and on an arduous train journey that takes a full day, we will travel to the famous Lake Titicaca, and then go on to Cusco, capital of the Inca kingdom, and then to what is considered to be the lost city of the Incas, Machu Picchu. The extensive Altiplano, the name of a high treeless plateau, unexpectedly provides a splendid mountain panorama. Mountain peaks rise to the heavens. Both people and animals have long since grown accustomed to the extreme changes in temperature of day and night. Whistling loudly and at leisurely pace, the old diesel train drags itself across the Puna Plateau. Puna means sleep and refers to this region, which is between 3,500 and 4,800 meters above sea level. At these heights, the traveler usually feels quite sleepy. Working together, the Indios till their fields and land, which means a lot of hard work. The earth is tilled with an old manual plough. Llamas, alpacas and sheep are bred and sheared. During festivities, they often end up on a plate. This green area suggests that we are approaching the first stop of our journey, the highest lying navigable lake in the world. At 8,100 square kilometers, Lake Titicaca is the largest lake in South America. Up to 281 meters deep, and with a temperature of 8 degrees centigrade, it contains a multitude of freshwater fish. Those living on the lake, the Uros, not only live on islands of reeds, but also make their boats from totora, reed stalks that grow on the shores of the lake. The Incas describe this legendary lake as endless water, which they believe joins with the world's great oceans, and from which rises the earth. The reeds are an important part of their existence. They act as a foundation for their floating islands and as building material for their houses and boats. Dried rushes are used as fuel. The art of making reed boats is handed down from generation to generation. The Indios finish their boats according to ancient tradition. Because the reeds perish relatively quickly, the Uros constantly make new boats. the boughs of which they decorate with demon-like heads. Maize and corn are still ground with a heavy millstone. On the menu, there are fish, plants and birds from the lake. The fresh shoots of the rushes are also a delicacy. The islands offer ample space for the huts of several families. Even pigs and chickens find a home in this rocking biosphere. On the island, for the young, there's even a school. Handicrafts are an important source of income for the India women, which, as with farming and the rearing of animals, is taught to them by their elders. Hand-spun wool is transformed into colourful jumpers, ponchos and blankets. From the islands, we continue in the bouncy train through endless expanses of high and undisturbed mountain landscape, a tranquil journey which captivates the eye. A newly boarded group of musicians transforms the atmosphere of the Inca train. The famous sound of the panpipes wakes the travellers from their lethargy. Because the railway track is mainly without bends, there is a constant shunting backwards and forwards. In a zigzag direction, the locomotive heads relentlessly towards its destination. Next, an enjoyable stop in Juliaca to buy provisions and handicrafts from the India women, or just simply a good opportunity to stretch the legs. From this railway junction, it is only 338 kilometers to Cusco. Slowly the train travels through small villages. The tracks lead through the center of a market. With quiet determination, the Indios make full use of every short break. Llama slippers, bananas and oranges are close at hand. And the traveller is constantly tempted to disembark the train to go shopping. Dark clouds of smoke are increasingly spewed out by the train. The old diesel locomotive chugs away metre after metre. The journey continues to Cordilleran, barren mountains which extend from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. In Peru, the peaks rise up to 6,000 meters high. Small settlements built from sand and clay line the railway track. The short distance to the dwellings tempts a glance into the living rooms of the Indios. When the train transfers to a new track, it's another opportunity for a rest. The water supply is replenished, and the traveller has the opportunity to free himself from the thin layer of dust that has covered the entire interior, as well as its occupants. Passengers often board on open stretches of the track. Unexpectedly, the train comes to a halt to allow heavily laden Indios to board and disembark. With little warning, passengers are asked to change from one train to another. There's no complaint about lack of exercise on this journey, and pushing and shoving are taken as a matter of course. Cusco, the navel of the world. That's what the Incas named the capital of their kingdom. The city is 3,400 meters above sea level and has a population of more than 10,000. Cusco's main square, the Square of Weapons, was built on the foundations of old Inca palaces. Its unique churches and fountains, which date back to colonial times, are reminiscent of a typical Spanish town. The end of a glittering epoch is visible on these wall paintings. The cruel conquest by the Spaniards. Cusco was a rich Inca town and shone in glory and gold. In 1533, the town was conquered by the Spaniard Pizarro with a handful of soldiers. The Incas subsequently attempted to regain their territory but were defeated. Thus, Cusco remained in the hands of the Spaniards. Hustle and bustle today dominate Cuzco's streets. Everywhere, traders offer their goods for sale, and the colourful and noisy Indio markets are an invitation to shop and browse. Traditional patterns and colours dominate the woven handcrafts. Even today, alpaca wool is popular for weaving clothes and fine carpets. It is remarkable that without the use of mortar, these meticulously worked stones form stable and uniform walls. And in the evening, around the Plaza de Armas, the square of weapons, there is a very relaxed atmosphere. The latest news is exchanged on numerous benches, and nearby restaurants open their doors for an informal evening meal. The next morning, the journey continues in the Inca train to the final station of the trip, to Machu Picchu. As we approach our destination, passengers enjoy the ever-changing scenery. The train follows the holy river of the Incas, the Rio Vilcanota, later renamed Urubamba. Individual bodegas are used as train stations. Here, travelers stop for a short while to refresh themselves and to recover from the thin air and strenuous journey. Increasingly higher and ever more daringly, the railway track ascends the mountain, further up into the Cordilleran. In this rugged landscape, the train is a vital means of transport. With all their heavy belongings, the Indios squeeze into the second-class compartments. Clear air and bright light of the Andes sun transform the wild and romantic ravines and bizarre steep rock faces into a marvelous backdrop. From time to time, the route leads past deep-lying torrential mountain streams. In the cool of the evening, at last, the highest point of the train journey has been reached. Now, the final destination of the journey is close by. A curtain of mist and mystique surrounds the lost city of Machu Picchu, an ancient mountain peak. The mysterious ruins lie high up in the Andes on an almost unreachable mountain slope. This place was dedicated to the sun cult and, for some unknown reason, was abandoned by its occupants. The lost city of the Incas is probably the most famous and important location of the Inca period. It is presumed that it was built during the middle of the 15th century. Many of Machu Picchu's original buildings have been preserved, owing to the fact that during the time when the Spanish came to South America, it was no longer inhabited and therefore remained undiscovered. Only in 1911 did the American archaeologist Hiram Brigham discover the sunken city. I began to understand that these walls with their surrounding semicircular temple belonged to the most beautiful of all stone works which the world had ever seen, and it took my breath away, and his first impressions stayed with him forever. Machu Picchu was a magnificent place with gardens, terraces, cult buildings and palaces. There were water canals, fountains and baths, and maize, potatoes and vegetables were cultivated. The life-giving liquid flowed in the times of the Incas. Today's visitors happily take a sip of it whilst wandering through the mysterious city. The Incas worshipped the sun and performed mysterious rituals. And since their inexplicable disappearance, the beauty and mystery of the ruined city remains to this day.